You are listening to The Platform. Podcast to learn about our digital world. I am Mike Veldhuis, partner at Nolte.com.
I'm Ed Macosky, head of products at Boomi.
Welcome to a new episode of The Platform, and with a new guest, Ed Macosky. Hi, Ed.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm awesome. How are you?
Oh man, it's 10 o'clock local time, Central European time, and normally I'm preparing to go to bed. I'm a person who gets up early and goes to bed early, so I really had to ramp up with a good energy for this podcast. And but it's great fun to do and a great honor that you want to be part of 4 episodes and a masterclass.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And thank you for treating me well. It's only 1 o'clock Pacific here where I'm at in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I'm right in the middle of my day.
Oh,
so,
very
again,
cool.
Looking forward to these.
I had a lovely day. It's Californian weather today here in the Netherlands. Blue skies, great temperature. So I received a lot of solar energy today to give a fantastic first episode of The Platform. Episode 1, Data-Driven Leadership. And what we're going to do today is really kick off this new series, which will end at the 14th of July with a masterclass that will be presented by you. And I will have a part in it as well. And what we're going to do in this series is that we're really going to explain how to become a data-driven company. And in the first 4 episodes of this podcast series, I presented with Michael J. Morton about becoming an intelligent business. But to get there, you have to have your data environment in check, you know? So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, a proper introduction of you, Ed. Sure. Because what's kind of not funny, but interesting is that you've been working for Boomi for a very, very long time, right?
Yeah, I'm like I say, I'm one of the original boomers. So yeah, back down in 2003, I started at Boomi. I was employee 8 or 9. Me and one of my buddies out of college, Dan Morris, started on the same day, which, by the way, shout out to Dan. He is also still with Boomi. So we like to debate who is employee 8 or 9, but I'm pretty sure I walked in the door first. So,
but you didn't stay at Boomi for the whole duration up till now, right?
No, yeah. I mean, I was with Boomi from 2003 to 14. So was, early on, did a bunch of integration implementation work. I actually built the professional services support team, customer success, et cetera. And was part of the company when we were originally acquired by Dell in 2010. At which point then I continued building, mostly focusing on professional services, training, that sort of thing. But in 2013, I took over engineering, so I ran R&D for a year. And then, I was literally the last manager, still with the company following an acquisition, 4 years post that acquisition, 3.5, 4 years. And the people that work in the startup mode typically get that itch a little bit. All of my friends, I like to say all my friends were gone, and I was looking around, and I had another opportunity to pick up my family and move from the East Coast of the United States, where Boomi is headquartered, out to the West Coast, to the San Francisco Bay Area. And I joined Oracle for 5 years and had a couple of executive roles there in the Fusion Middleware and PaaS spaces. Launched a competitive product to Boomi while I was there, but and also on the Magic Quadrant. But wouldn't trade my time in for the world. But at the same time, realized my love for Boomi's technology kind of increased during that time. The grass wasn't necessarily greener from a product and technology perspective. So the stars aligned, and I called Chris McNabb, who's the our CEO, and there was a match there at that point. Came back to run product for Boomi a little over 2 years ago now. So I've been doing that since.
What is kind of inspiring, and thank you for this personal story, by the way. What is inspiring is that we want to explain how to become a data-driven company. And actually, that's exactly what you've done with Boomi, right? Since 2003. Create a product and a platform that enables companies to become a data-driven company, but you, in the process, you became it yourself.
Yes, we became it. Even our own platform is the way we operate is data-driven, particularly now from a product management perspective. And any platform or any product out there nowadays should be doing this. But we make our decisions not only from a company, but from a roadmap and implementation perspective based on data. We do tracking of user behaviors. We do tracking of features that are being used from a connectivity standpoint. We know what our top connectivity and endpoints are. Those types of things that help us make our products better for our customers. But we also know, internally, things like employee onboarding. We can track employees as they're making progress, as they're onboarding and coming into our business, making sure that when their first impression of us as employees is a top impression. And we guide them through a journey and onboarding as a company. So we use our own technology even internally to help with some of these data-driven things as well. So
and you share those examples as well on the events. Onboarding is always a huge topic that you love to talk about. But the cool thing in this podcast series, in episode 3, we're going to talk about the future and how you connect things and all the things that are happening around us that generate data, how you can drive value from it. I'm really looking forward to episode 3, by the way. Even probably
same. I want to launch into it right now, but I think I'll wait a little bit because I've got some ideas.
We have to prepare our audience till that episode. Maybe even talk a little bit about blockchain. You don't know. We're gonna look. But working in Boomi now, and we have to have this out of the room. Everybody probably knows, listening to the podcast, that Boomi has been part of the Dell community for several years. And it's going to leave the Dell community at the end of this year, right?
Yeah, that's the expectation. Yeah.
What does it mean for you as a person?
So I'm excited about it. I mean, we made the announcement a few weeks ago as part of the executive team. We have been working through this process for a while, along with Dell. Dell has been an amazing parent for us for the last 10 plus years now that we've been part of the Dell family. But Boomi has been for the last number of years its own wholly owned by Dell business within the Dell Technologies family. So we've been operating with our own CEO, reporting up through that chain and growing, pretty drastically. And the stars just finally aligned that we feel like it's time for Boomi to grow up and leave the nest of Dell and go off on our own. And Dell feels the same way. And as I don't want to speak for the entire executive team, but I know for me personally, I'm really excited about working with some new investment partners that are willing and anxious and able to focus with us and really drive the business forward for not just me personally, but for our customers. I'm really excited about investing more in the roadmap and that sort of thing. So a lot of cool stuff ahead.
You probably get a lot of these questions. Mm-hmm. Well, a little bit of a secret. I get those too, because I've been messaging so much around Boomi over the last couple of years that actually the press came to me. What do you think about Boomi leaving Dell? So I actually wrote a blog and shared it online. But what I didn't write down is I wrote down the obvious stuff, which is in the press release of Boomi, and I not want to drill into that today. We're going to talk about data-driven companies, right? Yes. But the funny thing is, and maybe it's a great bridge to our next topic, is what it brought us. Dell acquiring Boomi is like mainstream integration. So we already were a Boomi or a Dell partner. Right. We sold their infrastructure solutions. Those are great. We're still doing that. But we were watching very closely what kind of acquisitions they were doing. And I think in 2015, Boomi was already a part of the Dell community. we traveled to Austin to Boomi or the Dell World to actually figure out what Boomi could do for us. And we were onboarded with the great process very fast and started kicking off and implementing Boomi into our solutions, like Blue Force tracking that we're going to discuss in episode 4 of this series. So for us, it was like a Kickstarter into this world where we could combine solutions, especially in the IoT arena. So we're very thankful for it. And it was kind of a bummer that we learned that it left the community, but we're very positive that Boomi will be able to be far more innovative than they were the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for one, Dell helped put us on the map. When Dell acquired us, we were a very small startup, even at that point.
How many people were working at Boomi?
I want to say roughly 40 to 60 people, somewhere in that range.
Oh, wow.
And at this point, we're well over 1,000 employees dedicated to the Boomi business going with us. So, it was small at that point, and they put us on the map. They made a lot of, gave us some street cred, so to speak, and invested in us, through partnerships they helped us make, and just really just being our advocate out in the market. And I would say too, although we're not going to be necessarily part of the Dell Technologies family, we're specifically working on keeping that tight partnership with Dell. I do think through contracts and things we have and the way we partner with them, a lot of those types of things are going to remain in place. And so I wouldn't, those listeners out there that have seen us as part of the Dell community, I don't think we're truly going to go anywhere anytime soon from that perspective. It's just we're going to be independent. So.
Yeah, cool. To build that bridge to the topic of today and the rest of the episodes.
Sure.
Building that data-driven company. What would be your first advice, your first step for our audience?
The first step is it's going to sound simple and it's going to sound, obvious, but you need to understand your data. Based on some of the research we've done and seen, anywhere around 60 to 70% of data within an organization is unknown. So in order to be data driven, you need to make sure you understand what data you have. You have to make sure that it's of high quality, and it's, if you're going to do something with data, you need to make sure that it's accurate. You're not going to make decisions or sync data or anything like that if it's complete garbage, garbage in, garbage out. But then the next, once you understand your data, a lot of integration problems have been solved. And I see a lot of our customers and people I talk to solving the same problems over and over again. They're implementing new systems, they're implementing new things, but they just keep doing the same thing. So understand your data, but take a step back and think to the future, right? Like, even if you're going to replace, some of your integration systems, think about new value and think about how you can change your organization. Don't just think about how I keep doing the same thing I've been doing, right? Mm-hmm. Think about these new technologies and really, start small and iterate, right? Some of these new technologies that are out there can be really, really intimidating for IT folks, IT people out there today,
Even Boomi.
Even Boomi. I mean, I'm not even just talking about Boomi. I mean, like the new, when we talk about integrated experiences and give people a new, workflows and new technologies, blockchain being one of them, or, oh my goodness, I got to spend all this time learning a new technology. I got to worry about, helping so-and-so in the, in accounting with fixing their computer, right? I don't have time to be worrying about all this stuff. That's a lot of what we see in IT. People, they're strapped for resources, and they've got to move quickly, and they're reacting to business more than they're innovating for them. So it's, hey, dream a little bit, think about something cool you can solve for your business, but start small and iterate. Don't try to take on this big challenge. Take something small, and technologies like ours can help you do that very quickly, right? So that's the advice I'd give. Yeah,
start small, work on the foundation, build on top of it.
Yes.
And for our listeners, we had a little chat prior to we pushed the record button, and you shared a little story about how you explained going to Boomi to your your friends in the past. Could you repeat that? This was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's funny. Actually, even expand a little more. So when going back to my buddy Dan, we both graduated with a degree in integration, application integration, integration and applications, right? And coming out of it was everybody we talked to, nobody knew what integration was. What is that you're going to do? What kind of degree is that? Is it computer science? No, not quite. We're integration specialists. And so, for years, it was always, you'd be at parties and, hey, what do you do for a living? I'm in IT or whatever. Because you'd start talking integration, nobody knew what it meant or anything. You'd lose them in a second. So nowadays, though, integration has become so pervasive, right? I mean, everything we do, it's a quick, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I integrate systems. Well, what does that mean? Oh, how your data follows you around everywhere you go? People know who you are. That's what I do. So, I get it. Typically, and then they want to ask me about Facebook or something like that and how it knows when listening to a phone. And then, I lose them in a second. But that's kind of how. Yeah,
so actually, the listeners of this podcast will be able to explain data-driven and integration after listening to the podcast series. They're at the party, and they're the heroes, right?
Yes. Oh, it's a great party topic.
Well, that's a great promise. It's already the end of episode 1.
Thank goodness.
Great story at 15 minutes. Time flies, right?
It does.
It's always happening this way. But the good news is we have episode 2, 3, and 4. Actually, you said you were looking forward to episode number 3. But episode number 2, the next one, is pretty cool as well. We're gonna talk about integration and building this structure. Thank you, Ed, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.